J-Weeks Entertainment presents Black to the Basics, the People's Podcast. J. Irvin, C. Jizzle, J. Weeks.
Black to the basics, and no it ain't racist. Talking about what we're hated, getting underrated, thinking that we're uneducated. Black to the basics, 3 kings, 3 rings, that are talking about real life things, real life things. Old news, sports news, black love, self-love, you choose. Black to the basics.
Like I was saying, if black people just stick together, there's nothing that we can't accomplish.
Every day we fight for this life, trying to do good for our people, praying that they don't take our life. Every day is like good versus evil. Turn to the mic so we can talk about it. Vision so clear you couldn't see without it. It's time to get black to the basics, all about the culture of all the black faces. Black to the basics, and no it ain't racist.
Hey, what's good? What's good?
What's up?
Black to the Basics is here, aka Black to the Basics, aka the People's Podcast. I am your host and 1/3, Mr. J. Weeks, aka 52 the Boss. Here with my man.
C. Jizzle, a.k.a. Mr. Bring That Heat, Florida born, Georgia raised, representing the best school in Georgia today. What's up, fellas?
Hey, you know what it is, J. Irv, VA all day, 2 up, 2 down. You know what it is with J. Irv is in your town. What's going on?
Already, what's going on, fellas? What's good? What's good? What's good? Good, you good?
I'm good. And you hear, y'all hear the sound?
Hey.
That's actually coming from me, not before.
It's fine today, man. Today is a good day, man. How y'all feel? Energy good?
I'm humble and hungry, dog. That's all I can explain it, man.
Speaking of hungry, you do owe me $2 for coming around.
Oh, yeah. Man, that was from the production meeting,
No
dog.
matter.
Yeah,
No matter.
you know, Weeks don't forget nothing.
Right.
You got to have it, y'all.
From the production meeting, dog.
Yeah, today is a good day, man. It's, Sunday right now. Of course, when this comes out, it's going to be Thursday. But, man, today is good. I'm feeling the energy. I'm feeling the love.
Yeah,
I feel like the people is ready, man.
They know it's their podcast.
It's
They
coming,
know.
man. Yeah, we coming with the energy. I'm excited, man. I don't know about y'all today, but I'm feeling good today.
Oh, man, like I told you, bro, like, it's like the repeat every week. Like, I can't believe we still here, man. Like, you know,
Hey, it's meant
we
to be.
still here. Look, y'all haven't canceled us yet. We still here.
Hey, fellas, if I was doing any better, I wouldn't be able to stand it.
Hey, today is good, man. So, love the energy. We excited for this week, man. Today, we gonna get into some real, We gave y'all a little sample of the topics, last time. But today, we gonna talk about marriage today, With us all being fellas that are married.
Yes.
Happily married.
Happily
I
married.
got happily married.
I love you, girl. I know I say it every week. I love you.
So yeah, we're gonna talk about marriage today, but today is gonna be great. We're gonna put that positive vibe out there, and we're gonna make sure we educate the people. So of course, we can't do anything without starting off and educating our people. We gotta look for my man C. Jizzle to give us that black fact of the day.
The Black Fact of the Day, brought to you by Mr. Bring That Heat. All right. So like we were saying, fellas, we are married,
Yeah.
happily married. So I want the Black Fact to pertain to that.
Okay.
All right.
By oversaturating the media with images of black men with white wives,
Mm-hmm.
white media controllers have manipulated many to believe the falsehood that black men prefer white women.
Okay.
In reality, listen to this.
Okay.
Only 7% of black men that's married in the U.S. is married to white women.
Message.
86.5% have black wives. So over 85% of black men that get marry black women. Contrary to what the media put out in the commercials and things like that.
What Ye said when he get on, he gonna leave for a white girl.
And that's not true. That's historically the numbers just don't add up. So
again, we dropped that. We gotta give it up with that fact right there. That is dope, man.
He did get on the mirror on the white woman.
Man, dog.
He did.
No, I'm just saying.
But he's the 7% though. You know what I'm saying? We ain't got
No, I had to think about he actually did what he said in the song.
He's prolific. He's been a visionary. Ye is like an artist.
We're not about to do this.
No. Yeah.
To his credit though, she do think she's a black woman though. I mean, in her mind, she does think she's a black woman.
She had quite a few black guys, so she got, experiences trying to look at. But I'm excited to know that that's not the case. That,
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
I know all of our wives are black, so
Yes.
you know we live in proof for.
homegrown South.
Yeah, and it ain't nothing wrong with interracial. That's cool, but just to see that, you know, having numbers to back up and say like that we are actually marrying other black women.
We love our queens.
Yeah, all day. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and go to the next part. You know, we always keep our ear to the street, so we gotta lean on my man Jay Herb.
4, 3, 2.
Bird on the street. Yeah, man. So today it's gonna be real special. I have 3 different topics. So
We got
Oh,
three.
oh,
We got
oh,
three.
you
So
trying to-
you missed the brain that he
You
got.
No. That's all you get, dog.
Into
Look,
the street.
right. Look, it's just the ears been buzzing, man. So
Let's get it.
we're gonna start off with Mr. Matthew Portis, and he is the founder of Soul Green, which is a solar power technology company that supplies solar power workstations. But the cool thing is they're being used by HBCUs.
Oh, shout out to the
Yes,
HBCU.
yes,
Hold on.
yes.
I gotta shout out my HBCU. Shout out North Carolina Central, the North Carolina Central University in Durham, North Carolina. Hey,
Yeah, put the
hey,
the
North
one
Carolina.
and only.
Hey, the baddest university in the land. Go ahead back to your.
I ain't gonna start the process, but shout out to the Rattlers, man. You know who we are.
Okay, okay, bro. Okay.
Tallahassee. Okay, that's the best school in Tallahassee.
Yeah, that's the best school period.
Shout out to the HBCUs. But go ahead with your back, man.
But yeah, man. So the company's called Soul Green. They just installed their 80th workstation in your neck of the woods in Orlando. Works at Park of America. So I think that's pretty cool, man. So check that out.
Shout out.
That brother's name is Mr. Matthew N. Portis. So doing big things, man. So
Okay. HBCU, love.
we're gonna bring it down to Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Hey, baby.
Well, Miss Captain Trayon Lavardin has been the first African American female police chief down there.
Hey, shout out to these queens out here.
Yeah, man. So women out there protecting and serving. My mother-in-law is a retired police officer. Love you, Mama Evelyn.
Shout out to the
And
good.
listen,
Shout out to the
and
good.
her aim is on point.
Point.
Listen, her aim. Bro, listen, you have no idea.
Stay ready.
She be at the house, you know what I'm saying? If it's late at night, I'm like, yo, mom, I'm come around the corner because she stayed ready, dog. I gotta protect myself in my own house. Dog. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, shout out Mama Evelyn with that, man. But then this is one that's very near and dear to me, right? Okay, so second grader raises money for classmates who can't afford school lunch.
Oh, no, that's
Now, hold on, in second grade now?
Second grade. This Amanji Manley, 70-year-old girl, right? She had a conversation with her mom about, you know, different classmates not being able to eat proper lunch. So where they're located at in Charles County, Maryland, if you go in the arrears of $25, they give you what's called an alternative lunch.
Right.
So what she did was her mom asked her, what does she want to do about it? She said, I want to raise money. So this young girl created a fundraiser.
Right.
She raised more than $4,300.
Wow. In the second grade?
In the second grade.
Shout out to the young queen.
Shout out to
And her
that.
parents, y'all raised
Yes.
a phenomenal young
Raising
lady.
a
Wow.
real talented young lady. And also, too, she also is a published author as well, too. She had a book talking about the positive self-image at the age of 5. So this young girl,
That's a queen right there.
she is doing big things. So
Visionary.
shout out to you, Miss Manley. So, it's just real special, man.
Hey, that all deserves. Shout out to all these entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
I mean, young second grade.
7 years old, you know. So
I'm expecting real big things from her.
this is not going to be the last time we hear from her.
That's a
Trust
queen
me.
that's going to change the world right there.
And we don't hear a lot about, you know, the kids doing stuff, man. But to have that type of mentality, just to not be so think about yourself, like that's special, man.
To be worried about, because I know my kids, they ain't really worried about nothing else other than them.
They gonna make sure they good though.
They friends, but be thinking about an entire school.
Yeah, that's dope.
That's
And
very dope.
you know, as someone who had free lunch, like that's not having kids that have lunch, man, it's touching.
But
man.
also too, it speaks to the situation where like she notices kids in situations.
I mean, she's self-aware of what's going on.
Instead of like making fun of those children, she's
What
like,
can I do to
What
help?
can I do to
What can I
help?
do
You know
to
what I mean?
help?
So she could be boasting, but
Mhm.
and that just I can't even imagine being in second grade just be thinking about like I mean, I'd probably be hard pressed to share my pencil in
Right,
second grade.
exactly.
I mean,
So out of 500 of those students, 100 of them receive alternative lunches on a regular basis. So that means they, you know, it's got to be some family dynamics, whatever
Yeah.
the situation is. So to see that, you know, come into, you know, to place that you're helping those, it's gonna go a long way, man.
Right.
So you know,
to
we
put it
need
in the
more.
fundraiser. That's dope.
Yes.
And,
That's
she's
dope.
7. Like,
Do we
So-
have the name of the fundraiser?
no, it does not actually. No, they don't have a name, but I'm gonna look that up so we can
Okay, we'll post it. We'll
post it so
for
people
y'all.
can go do
But
it.
we gotta give another hand.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Good stuff, man. Shout out to them.
It just shows how we came together, man. When you come together and do things and have vision, the skies are never
Nothing
Nothing
can
ain't gonna
stop.
stop. I'm telling
We
you.
all the way up. Dope, man. So appreciate the word on the street.
Yeah, no doubt.
Appreciate that black fact.
Good stuff,
Let
fellas.
y'all know what time it is. Trying to get into it. Trying to get into the real.
Meat and potatoes.
Hey,
That's his favorite saying.
yeah, the meat and potatoes, baby. It's time to get into it, man. Today we're talking about marriage, you know, and I'm gonna go ahead and name it. We're gonna call this episode "Death Do Us Part."
Oh, that's deep.
You know, we're gonna get into it. So with marriage, you know, it's right now it's kind of hot topic. You know, it's everywhere on social media. It's all over. So we're just gonna kind of talk about it. You know, us all being married. I just gonna share briefly about our kind of stories, and we're gonna kind of just dive right into it. Of course, I'm a lean to the one who got the most tenure out here. You know,
I'm the old man in the
yeah, the OG on here. My man C Jizzle. Go ahead, just tell them, you know, how your situation is, man.
Married, happily married. Didn't start out that way. Don't get me wrong. Challenges and different hurdles,
Mhm.
but we have overcome. We look back on those days 10 years ago and laugh. I've been with my wife for a little bit over 11 years. We've been married for 10 years.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's a decade. I like to consider my marriage like an encyclopedia. And even after 10 years, I'm maybe just breaking open to the E's. So eventually I will reach Z and we will, you know, hit this next level
Right.
that, you know, we can't come back from. But, you know, marriage is constantly changing and you got to adapt and
So
you have to be selfless.
okay. So you said 10 years married,
10 years married,
11 together.
11 together.
So you dated for a year, and then you knew she was
He
the
knew
one.
I will say my wife knew I was the one.
Okay.
She's a very strong woman. And she knows what she wanted. And she saw something in me that I didn't see in myself.
Okay.
And I was nervous. And it would have took me longer than what I wanted, you know,
Right.
longer than what she wanted.
She's like, you want to waste my time.
She not like wasting my time. She knew the queen she was, and she knew the king that I could potentially become.
Cool.
And she poured that out of me, which I thank you every day, baby. Thank you so much.
Shout out to the wife.
Shout out to you.
What about you, J.R.?
Yeah, man. You know, me and my wife Aubrey, we will be married 3 years in October of this year,
Mm.
and then we dated for 2 years prior to that. So, man, we went through the whole, you know, best friend phase.
That's what's up.
You know, moving in.
How was that being best friends in their life?
Man, listen, it
Because I
really.
hear people
It
say
makes
that
a
all the
difference.
time.
It makes a difference, bro.
So for me, when I got with my wife, wasn't my wife at the time.
All right.
I wasn't looking for a relationship. Like I had just came out of
Same way with me.
a crazy situation, and I just was just chilling. Like, man, I'm good. I'm about to live my best life. Like I was not even.
Wait, you telling my story over there?
So I wasn't even looking for it. So me and her was like cool. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, we could talk about whatever. Like we just was cool. And then, you know, out of the blue, it just was like, dang, like, you know, yeah, she alright. You know what I'm saying? So then the rest is history. Here we are. You know,
Cool.
two kids.
Two kids. Oh, we forgot. You say your kids, man.
I have 4 children total. I have 3 with my wife, but she does consider my child hers, even more than me.
That's important.
She loves my child.
That's important.
I don't know a person that loves
And
all
this
my
man
kids
got-
more than
this
she
man
does.
got 3 boys.
I got 3 boys. I'm blessed.
Yes.
Like I said, that's how I knew I picked the right one. She gave me, you know, exactly what I figure most guys want. They want the boys. You want somebody that looks like
You
you.
might as well go have another so you
No,
got
hey, don't you speak that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. Hey, speak it on me.
What you doing?
Hey, mark the date. So if it happens, we know that's the episode that did it.
Hey, I'm dropping the baby off at week time. It's your baby, bro.
That's dope, man. So, me, I have happily been married. It'll be 8 years this year.
Okay.
Me and my wife Esperanza, love you, mommy.
Shout out.
Hey, shout out to the mommy. 8
so-
years. We dated for 2 years.
Okay.
Okay.
We were engaged for a year. And my wife is West Indian. Shout out to all my West Indian
Yes.
folks. I love y'all to death. Oh my God.
Let's go.
Yeah, I love the culture of this West Indian. They look out for one another. You know, they just have like a unity. But my wife was, you know, someone like, hey, I'm not really looking for, you know, no boyfriend. Like, you got to make your decision for it.
I need a man.
Yeah.
I need a king.
Yeah, and so, you know, well, my wife, she's a little different because, you know, me coming from my background, you know, entertainment, being the center of attention, my wife wasn't the person who was going to give you that love, you know what I'm saying? I never forget, this is a true story, man. You know how you go on a date with somebody, you know, you just kick it with them, chill, you know, and then you hit up with it, hey, yo, I miss you, you know, thinking about you. My wife texts back, hi, you just seen me yesterday.
Ooh.
So,
you knew you had to do it, G.
yeah. So right then there, I was like, okay, we dealing with a whole nother level.
Whole situation.
So yeah, she was someone who was very vocal about. I kind of know what I want, and I came at a disadvantage because she had been single for 3 years. So you know, she was single, independent, got her own money, car. I don't really need you. It's good. It's like an accessory. You know, it's an accessory. I was just an accessory to my wife. But you know, she was very vocal about who she was and what she wanted in life. And I looked at it, it was one of those things, either you're going to step up to the plate or you're going to run.
That's how it was.
And I ran up to it. So, and here we are.
You stepped up and hit the grand slam.
Oh, hey, I love it.
She said yes.
Yes. She said yes. Right. Yeah, I mean, she made me wait 2 hours at the wedding, you know, but that's a whole other story. But, you know, people who know, I thought she had stood me up. You know,
But you know what's crazy though, man? Like, that's their day though. Like, you know what I'm saying?
That is true. So people who are not married and people who are married, we really have no purpose.
Yes.
It's literally only thing we do is sit there and just
You just show up.
we just supposed to look good and say yes, I do. It's pretty much.
When we went through the planning stage of the wedding, like, my wife asked me questions, right? Oh, I'm good. You know?
Yeah, I mean, really. I mean,
Because it's not. Yeah, right. It's not for.
It's not going to affect you at all.
fellas. It's not for us. Okay.
And think about
It's
it.
her.
You don't even do nothing to wedding, but all you do is just stay. Like you already stand there.
You don't even walk down the aisle.
You don't walk
You
down the aisle.
just standing there like trying not to sweat, trying not to cry. You know.
Speaking of sweat, I always say this all the time, right? So when we had an outdoor wedding, right?
Oh yeah, you was sweating buttons.
You was there.
Hey.
You was there.
I was frying my man in the audience. Like my wife was like, "Shut up, this is their wedding." I said, "Hey,
Well,
I gotta be me."
I wasn't nervous. You know, down here in Georgia, man, it was like 98 degrees, and it was like 6, 7 o'clock.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
baby.
it was
Oh,
bad.
man,
So
that's
the crazy thing, the preacher was like, "Man, you good? You crying over?" No, he whispered, said, "Yo, I'm crying over there. You happy?" I said, "Yeah, I'm happy, but I'm just."
Hey, don't let him fool y'all out there. He did cry though. He was crying. But it was hot out there. That's why I had my linen suit on.
Yeah, it was hot. You definitely had the suit where it was blowing.
Yeah,
it was no wind. There was no wind. My man's pants was moving, and there was no wind out there. Okay, if I got the video, I'm gonna bring it up.
He raised his next level.
Yeah,
Huh?
it was hot out there. But Herb did shed a little thug to you know. And little people, you know, people don't know this little known fact about Herb that he actually, you know, got involved with Aubrey because his favorite rapper.
Oh
is
my
Drake.
God!
Okay,
No,
Drake's real
Oh,
name is Aubrey Graham.
Now
so
we know the real
First of all, I'm here to dispel that rumor. Okay,
are we gonna
anybody who knows, if he knows, my favorite artist is Jay-Z.
Oh,
Okay, you know what I'm saying? We had you was there. We had like 5 different Jay-Z
I know.
songs playing.
shout out to the GOAT?
So no, that is not why. He had people believing that, but hey man, you know he married because of that Aubrey. That's his favorite. No, that's not the case.
Hey, he was in the back. Tell me the meaning going on. But no, man, y'all had a beautiful ceremony. I was hoping, like, you know, no shout to your groomsmen, but I was hoping somebody dropped out so I could step in because it was flat. It was flat. It was like you wanted to be a part of it. They had like a navy blue thing. They came down the stairs and everything, and they stunned on. They came out there with the J's on. Like they
Hey,
was
shout out to my wife. She
Yes.
like, you
that
know,
cool?
Yeah, she did. She was like, hey, listen. At first, she wanted me to go down the aisle with the sneakers on, and I was like, you know what? I thought about the pictures later. I said, no, I want to give you your good pictures.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
then the reception, she was like, oh, well, I'm putting mine on too. So
yeah. They was
she came
Y'all
out the
came
room.
right together.
We walked down the stairs.
Oh,
She had her
that's
sneakers
awesome.
on. They had mine on. So it
Yeah,
was a
they
fun night.
came out there on some Bonnie and Clyde.
Yeah, that's a ride right there.
Right.
That's
So
the Queen of Slim, huh?
it was definitely dope. So now that we kind of got out a little bit about our stories, you know, people normally get married for some reason. There's like, you know, for the come up, and I look at like, you know, financially, it can be love, happiness, is just Now it's just kind
I
of
said taxi.
No, I'm
Hey,
hey, let's get close up.
I'm playing the kids this year.
Let's get close. So let's just kind of get into that, like the why. Everyone has kind of their why. And I'm gonna lean on my man Jay Earn first. So like, what was like your why? I guess I didn't say why, but at what point did you get to the point where it's like, all right, yeah, this is why I want to go ahead and get married? And take that next step.
When I knew was when no other person like had my attention. You know what I'm saying? Like so like before prior to my wife, like I just was like, yo, I'm chilling, you know, I'm doing whatever, you know, doing me, whatever, but she had my attention, she held it, and nobody could take that attention away from her. You know what I mean? So that's how I was like, okay, cool, this is different. You know what I'm saying?
So that was like early in the game, like she had, or like maybe after a little bit of time.
Probably almost a year in.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? It's just like, you know, we had such a good friendship.
Okay.
And like, where we could literally, like I said, talk about anything. Like, she enjoyed sports. Like, you know what I'm saying? It was rare. Like, she, you know, I played video game. We was dating. She come to the crib and like, oh, you want to get? All right, cool. I'm gonna go watch, you know, some on TV. So I'm like,
both of y'all thugs too. So
I'm like, yo,
they both ready.
Hey, man, this man has had a camera on me from day one. But you are telling my story right now. I can't even go next because I'm just.
Nah, I'll jump in. I'll go ahead and share mine. So for me, again, come from a wife, been 3 years single, so I had a challenge, I can say. But I never forget, me and my wife used to work together. We used to work together at Sears. Shout out to all my people at Sears. Now, I'm going to say this, and people probably going to deny it, but when we worked at Sears, my wife was the new girl. And everybody know, new girl, everybody trying to get the scoop on it. Like, who that? Who that right there? Everybody was like on it, with the exception of me. Like I was kind of fall back because I'm like, if everybody wants you, I'm gonna play the background scene. But needless to say, no one was bold enough to ask her anything. Like no one knew her name, they know where she's from. So you know, weeks been weeks. Yeah, you know my name, Jay Weeks. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Where you from? Yeah, oh word. I have my dreads too, so I'm letting my Jones down. Like yeah,
I can see you doing your head.
Yeah.
Like that.
So I'm like, yeah. So what's up? She's like, oh yeah, you know I used to live there. I'm like, yo, she's 24 now. Mind you, I love my mommy, but mommy she used to have a little bob drink or whatever you call a little swoop, little head on. And it looked like she was old as a mother. So everybody thought she was like 35, like 30. And she was like 24. Yeah.
You know you're going to pay for that. You're going to pay for saying that.
No, my wife is beautiful now. She got it. That was just kind of her jump. But I was like, cool, it's Doobie.
Oh, yeah.
The word I'm thinking.
Okay, I remember those.
Okay, yeah, she had that. But anyway, I got the scoop on her, but I never forget, I never tried to get at her, but the moment I seen her, she had a Thanksgiving, anybody know me, Thanksgiving is my day. I'd rather have Thanksgiving than my birthday. Like, it's that important.
Oh, hungry.
Yeah. Like, it's like, you know how Christmas you can't go to sleep? That's me on Thanksgiving. I'm literally thinking like, I be taking laxatives the day before, like, I gotta clear out, like, I don't eat nothing tonight, like, I really try to go with, that's my day. So she had, I didn't have no family here, so my wife, then she was, just my coworker invited me to her party at Thanksgiving. And like the moment I seen her, it was like, Erica Badu always talking about aura and glow.
Yes.
It was like the episode of Chappelle where they had the little glow. I was like, who is this?
What color was the glow, though?
No, it was like orange. Though. Orange. It was like orange.
That's my favorite color. So
she had
the
Bruce Leroy from.
Hey, showed up, boy.
They got that glow.
I seen it in the kitchen. I was just like, who is this? It wasn't the same person. I'm like, I don't know if it's because I just seen her outside of work for the first time, but it was that moment. Then I was like, I don't know how she looks like that, but I gotta be with her. I don't know what has happened, but I gotta be with her. Of course, it didn't happen at that moment.
Gotcha.
That's how it kind of happened for me.
Okay.
And I think definitely my why was I knew always that I wanted to be married, and so that was always my goal, to be married. That was like, like a box to check off, I'm gonna be married. So now with you having the long tenure, like how did that really happen for you? Like,
so for us, I will say very similar to Irv. I wasn't looking for a relationship. It was more of, I thought I was gonna be player. And I'll be honest, like, she was supposed to be the first victim.
Right.
She was supposed to be the first one.
Cancel Christmas.
All right.
I thought
she
she came over and we kicked it at my apartment day one.
Yeah. 5
5 minutes into hanging out with her, I was like, this is the dopest chick I've ever been around. Like, she was so cool. She came in and got the computer, had the music playing. She was DJing for me,
No, see,
playing all the hot hits and everything. I'm like, boy, so this is what the Atlanta women are like. And not all of them are like that. So I realized at that point, she would be a better friend
okay.
than to do what I initially had my
So
mind.
she's like the homie.
She was the homie.
Oh, okay. I
And
got
she
you.
was gorgeous too. And I never seen that combination of beauty and then coolness. You could tell,
Right.
like, you know, she rocked with her brothers heavy. You could tell that she hung out with guys. Like, she was just so cool.
Right, right.
And she did things that I like to do. I'm not going to say what that on the pot, but she does. We had something in common, you know, off the bat.
But Rip, you was trying.
That's it. I was just trying.
Yeah, but
After 3 days, and I didn't want to believe it, but after 3 days, I was in love. I was in love.
Skip and say what?
I knew I was in love.
Whoa.
I wasn't married. I wasn't.
That's heavy.
Yeah,
But
what was it? Heavy.
And I wasn't.
heavy,
I
guys.
wasn't, you know, necessarily looking to get married.
Right.
But I
you
knew
knew from that moment.
that I didn't want to be with nobody else, and I could not imagine her being with anybody else. I realized that after 3
He's like,
days.
nah.
So I even remember her because I wanted her to meet my daughter first before
Okay.
I kind of committed to, you know,
Right.
that serious. And I remember her saying, "That's fine, but whatever me and you got going on, I better be the only one who you have that going on with." So it let me know. She was still cool with it. Like, I understand that you don't want to put the label on it right now because you want me to meet your child, but at the same time, you're not about to be playing games with me and think that you're gonna be doing this with several other women.
You might have got shot.
Yeah, I might have got shot.
Might have
My wife don't play. Then, you know, shout out to her brothers. You know, especially the older one. You know, he retired out of the Air Force, so but know how to shoot the gun as well. So I don't want no smoke.
He put all of
I don't want no smoke. But just after, like I say, hanging out with her and realizing that I could potentially lose the greatest thing that ever happened to me, like the greatest person that ever came into my life, I could lose that because I don't want to step up and be a man.
Right.
So I stepped up and became a man.
And so with all of that, right, you had all that flowing. At what point at that time did that change from like I love her, I want to be with her to like I'm gonna marry this girl?
I don't want to say an ultimatum was given,
Okay.
but my wife made it very clear. Choose you this day. You're going to, we're either going to be together
Or not.
or we're not going to be together.
Okay.
And I could not let my fear of me not wanting to be married prevent me from losing her. So I jumped out there and we made it happen. And like I said, it's the best thing that ever happened to me. I tell my story. I tell my story proudly. Gentlemen, y'all find you a strong black woman.
Hold on to it.
Don't feel like, you know, oh, women pressuring you into to you know, getting married, nothing like that. Sometimes them queens see what we don't. And then sometimes we see what they don't. So it's, you know, you take it with a grain of salt. But, you know, she the best thing that ever happened to me, baby. Thank you for pushing me to be the man I am today.
That's dope, man. That's definitely dope. But I think so. I want to take a different turn on this now. So right now, you got a lot of people. You know, marriage, like I said, is really a hot topic. You know, you got people talking on one side, it's really great. Then you got like marriage, it's this and that. Let's take it back. I know for me, my grandparents were married for 30 plus years. You know, for a long time. So only people I've really seen married. You know, instead of my grandparents, and then of course her siblings. But do you think now that there is a difference? And I'm gonna go right back to you, just do you think there's a difference in marriage now versus what it was before? Has there been a shift, or
There has been a shift. Just the numbers alone speak for, you know, black people. We get married at a lesser rate than any other culture.
okay,
And we stay married less time than any other culture. The numbers speak for themselves.
right?
I think now, and I call it the Housewives of Atlanta era,
Mm.
the woman has kind of decided what role she's going to play, and in turn, the man kind of reacts a certain way.
Okay,
I think that back in the day, a woman played the woman's role, and
okay,
a man played the man's role. You knew exactly where you stood, and you both worked together
okay.
to bring things together. I think these days it's kind of like, it's almost like a competition. Like, you know, who can do better, or I said it this way, you said it that way. Like, even for instance, you know, just, and I know black men don't cheat, but just bringing up with Coretta Scott King, how not only did she forgive Martin, but then she embraced her husband and just like loved him unconditionally.
Okay.
And you can imagine in these days, if a black man got caught, with some infidelity, all her homegirls gonna be in her ear. Oh, he ain't this, he ain't that. You got to do this, like listening to outside noise, people who don't.
That's facts.
Yeah.
Okay. But
Let's go.
so spinning off of that, right?
Mhm.
So those women that are in that person's ear, they're 9 times out of 10 they're jealous of the situation,
Exactly.
and it's
don't
like,
realize
okay,
that.
I'm miserable. My homegirl is happy because like there's nothing like you being
Right.
around somebody that's always happy in their situation. And then if your situation is not the best, if you information that
Based on
I'm
that.
not going to use in my own personal life,
This is where love's coming.
right? But I'm gonna tell you because you in an emotional state. So like, oh yeah, girl, you should do this, you do
Right.
that. If your woman is not mentally strong enough to know when you're getting good feedback or bad feedback, then that's when it could take a turn for the worse. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
And I'm gonna even take a different term. Some of the thing, I can say the most important thing, but one of the things that I really had to look at myself at when it came to marriage is I was looking at my marriage, being 7, 8 years into my marriage. I had to look back because every person that had deemed themselves as having something successful, right? People I know that long tenure, or just the perception, right, of people having long tenure. It was all based on overcoming something. So I was thinking like, well, if I haven't gone through anything, like I guess I was kind of shooting myself like my marriage is not really worth. I was judging mine based on, well, we haven't gone through this, we don't argue, or we don't go through this. Or do you feel like most things now are just kind of based on like you have to experience something, whether it be infidelity, you have to go through some situation for it to be deemed as success? Because I look at it for me, when I look at marriage and people that are really been married for a long time, or people that want to be married for a long time, it's all based on, well, let's see, did you have to go through this? We had to go through hell in order for us to be here. But my thing is like, does that mean that if you don't go through those things, does that mean your marriage is not successful?
Right. Yeah.
Right.
And I would say that everyone in their relationship is going to have their hell.
Okay.
And your version of hell might not be as to the extent of
Okay.
another man's hell, another
Right.
woman's hell, but everybody has their ups and downs.
Okay.
What I consider a successful relationship is how do you weather the storm? Right. One of my favorite songs, Can't You Stand the Rain?
Mhm.
Like, when it's good, it's good. But can you weather the storm when it's bad? And that's the definition of success to me. Because you can have somebody be married for 25 years
Right.
and never really go through anything. And then the 26th year, something happened and
Yeah.
boom. So you had all them years where
And so that was me. Like I was looking like, well, me and my wife had a unique situation, and everyone has their own thing, but we didn't have a situation where it was like we had to argue and go through this like that. And there's nothing wrong with, whatever you do works for you.
Yeah.
But I was literally looking at mine like, well, is our marriage really successful because we didn't have to go through this? But then it made me see that a lot of times we're looking at cookie cutter, right?
Mm-hmm.
We look at Jay Earn, we look at C. Jizzle, we say, look, their marriage is doing X, Y, Z. If I model this after this, then that deems mine to be the same way.
you can't do that.
Yeah, you
You know
can't
what I'm
do
saying?
that.
You can't.
Right.
You're not me. I'm not you. She's not that guy's wife.
And so I had,
That's
me
your
in my own
house.
marriage, I had to step outside of it and realize, like, dude, because, when you think about marriage, I know for me, I'm always someone who likes to get feedback, like, hey, what are some of the pointers you have in this and this? And then it just goes back to the no bones thing, right? Take in the good and spit out the bone, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so I know I was beaming myself. I don't know if you had to experience something like that or even yourself, CJ, where it was like you had to take the step back, like, am I making something that's not really an issue for?
For me, man, the biggest thing when I first started out in this relationship, I was kind of on the tip of, I was telling my wife like what a woman should be. I was so worried about what she should be doing that I wasn't looking in the mirror at what I should be doing. So that's one of the things that the light went up for me when I realized, like, hey, the man is the leader of the family,
Okay.
and the emotions in the house and the way the family feels is going to go off of how I feel.
Correct.
And so I changed my perspective in marriage and
Okay.
realized that, I have to focus on me and worry about myself and treat her like she should be treated. And in turn, with me doing what I'm supposed to do, she'll follow suit. That's how it works.
What about you?
Yeah, man. For me, I think it's always been about a two-way street. So like me, I'm not big into social media like that, man. So this whole relationship goals, you see it.
Yes.
You see it all the time, right?
Talk about that.
So what people do, they look and say, oh well, Jay and Beyonce, or Cardi B and Offset, you know what I'm saying? They're doing X, Y, and Z. So if we're not doing that, then
We're not successful.
But here's the thing, man. Like, you have to know what works for you and your household. And that comes with the biggest thing is communication. A lot of people, and I'll take myself, right? So I constantly learn about myself and about my wife, right? So I had to ask questions to understand what makes her tick. Or what, you know what I'm saying? Not saying like, piss her off, but like, just so I have a better understanding.
You gotta know where not to go.
So when she has a day or a moment, if I understand my wife, then I know, oh, that's not directed towards me.
Yes, right.
Or that's just how she processes information. So it's all about communication and just learning your part. I think a lot of people like, okay, so this is me. If you don't accept me for who I am, then deal with it. When really, if you married, I tell my guys all the time, man, like, pick your battles for one.
Yes.
Everything does not require an argument because you can pay for it later.
Let it go.
Let it go. But that communication, man. If you have like a level of communication where you can be honest and open, like if something's bothering you, whatever, just that line of communication, it makes a complete difference in your marriage. And also to keeping outside opinions down to a minimum, because everybody's not
worried about what everybody else thinks.
Everybody is not like you say it all the time. And everybody that praises you or gives you kudos is not really supporting you.
Don't confuse congratulations with support.
With support, yes.
That goes for business. That goes for family. That goes for
anything in life.
Everything. Don't confuse it.
Right.
And it just brings me to my next point, as far as you mentioned about having that communication and things. What are some of the things, like, for people that's not married, right? Everyone has, like I said, good, bad things they want to say. Like, what are some of the challenges, or I guess you had to kind of learn along the way of being married? And we're gonna look for the man who got the tenure.
Yeah, I got the tenure in this one. And shout out to my pastor, Pastor Browning. Thank you so much. I know it was at a time me and my wife were really struggling, and we sought counseling. It's just something that does it, and we still do it now, but not necessarily because we need it. But it's always good to get that refresher. And tune up just like your car. You got to keep it fresh. What I learned was it's not 50-50. Right. You got to throw that out. It's 100-100.
All in.
And you got to be all in.
Okay.
And it's whatever you bring to the table, excuse me, you have to bring it. You got to be 100% with it. And then in turn, your spouse has to be 100%. Because if it's 50-50, then you really only giving half of yourself.
Makes sense.
So I had to learn to be selfless. When you get married, you're agreeing to step outside of yourself to join with someone else and become one. Right. And you can't do that if you're only giving half, or you're expecting something that you're not gonna get.
Right. Any for you?
Oh yeah, man. Same thing. Like I said, we're like communication. I keep saying that, man, because like that's been the highlight of my situation.
And people say that a lot. So, what is significant or so important about communication that people say it all the time? What have you found to be the most successful when it comes to communication?
You have to be able to listen, right? So what I was doing early on, like if my wife had a situation and she was upset or hurt about something, I would hear her, but I'm not listening and understanding, like, okay, where is that coming from? I'm like, not saying defensive, but like, okay, well,
I was hearing it,
but I won't listen. I'm trying to get her to see my point.
Okay.
But when I learned to listen to my wife,
right,
listen to why she's hurting, understand, not hurting, but just anything, like you being frustrated about, I told you I got to
stay in the line of actions for 20 minutes.
Right, no, I got so this pisses her off so much, right? So I take a glass and drink something out, right? I plan to go back and get it later. I set it 2 inches from the sink. It drives her crazy.
Come on now, dog. Come on, man.
Right? Drives her crazy. So
that's very irresponsible of you, though.
No,
I push you are.
I don't make no sense to wash the cup out because
I'm gonna use it later. You know what I mean? I don't like doing dishes, so I'm gonna use that cup.
Don't you just put it somewhere else, though? Like,
no, that's my spot.
No,
I know.
I'm with you on that. That makes no sense.
It makes sense in my mind. Okay,
creatures of habit, man.
No, that's like getting in the car and not starting. Like, what is the point?
No, it don't. That's go ahead. But once I understood,
so now you see that people create situations they don't even have to.
But pick your balance because that shouldn't bother you, okay? Because you know it's going to sink eventually, just not right now.
Well, you should know your partner, man.
I do. So I try to put it in the sink, but forgive me if I don't. But whatever. We're gonna get off the cups. Right. Look,
I can agree with you. The biggest thing for me I had to learn is I look at marriage as like, if you remember being in college or even when you got your first apartment, you were kind of struggling. You might have a little bit of things, and I look at marriage as like your wife has a little bit of something, you have a little bit of something. How can we make a meal out of this?
Yes.
You know, so putting those things together. The most important thing about marriage to me is understanding that people are going to be different.
Yeah.
You're going to have different backgrounds,
Yes.
different experiences, where you come from.
It took me a while to
You know,
understand that.
role, you know, things that and your experiences all shape who you are.
Correct.
So for me, being someone who was very street smart, very, very street savvy, you know, I get it. My wife is more of a book smart person. Common sense, I love you. She's, you know, she's not dumb or nothing like that, but it's just certain things you gotta explain. It has to make sense to her.
Right.
Me, I can pick up on something before it happened. So learning that the way she interprets things, like even my son does the same thing. Like if you tell him something, he has to know the why behind it. Like for me, if you tell me, okay, cool, do X, Y, Z, done. My wife was like, but okay, explain to me why. Why I don't understand it.
That's smart, like.
And so I had to, okay, try
No, I'm saying,
see how
So you gotta give it back.
So basically, if somebody told you to run to this wall, you be like, all right, cool, bet you can run to the wall.
Come on, man, be real.
Look, but he's gonna be like, you know what? Why am I gonna run into that wall? Because that's gonna hurt. You see what I'm saying?
I try to start.
Beat him up when you get home.
But it's really like you gotta.
Solo
I
man,
really
solo
had
man.
exactly. You really gotta understand, man, what's important and how to make those things mesh. And I didn't understand that because I'm like, well, why do you do that? That doesn't make sense.
I'm telling you, man.
It don't make sense.
the
Things that
whole
you
women-
interpret and they don't. And it's like, why don't you get it? You should. But it's just
I mean, when I was younger, I heard of the book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus.
100% true.
I didn't realize how serious that was until I got married.
Yeah.
Until I got married, it's actually a good book. It
Yeah.
kind of it puts it in perspective, but it touches on what Weeks was saying, that you come from a whole different background than your spouse.
Correct.
Her perception of what a dad should be, her perception of what the mom should be, her perception her perception of everything is going to be different than what you have because you grew up 2 separate towns, 2 separate communities.
Everything.
You know,
Everything different.
yeah. So it's everything different, and like you got to figure out how to take
put them together.
how you take the best of both worlds and put it together and spit out the bones.
Right.
That's
All that.
marriage.
And that's like even like for my wife, you know, we both have parents that have passed away at a young age. You know, so my wife has her father pretty much raised her, and because her mom had passed at a young age, and my mom raised me because my father was passed.
Opposite.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So things we look at are completely different, but it's like finding a way to make those kind of work. And so now that we kind of got that, let's shift it. You know, for the people out there that's single, right? How do you make, you know, how I would say, what would you recommend to those people to say, hey, I'm single? At what point, you know, should they try to go to the next level? Or is it just like, let me just, you know, God gonna send someone my way? Or like, you know, what do you advice do you have? Because, you know, a lot of times people see married people and they're like, oh, you know, it's kind of like they don't really rock with us.
Yes.
So what would you say to those, you know, people that's either trying to transition to, you know, being in a relationship or in a relationship and trying to go to the next level? Like, what would you say to them?
One, I would say, don't be nervous. You know, nothing is ever, you know, a surefire thing. Nothing is ever 100%. But if you know you have someone who you cannot see them with anyone else, and you can't see yourself with anyone else, it's that time.
Okay.
And if you wait till you think you're ready to be married, you will never get married.
Right.
You're never
It's
going
like
to get
having a
married.
great idea. If you don't
You
jump on it,
gotta
it's
act on
not going to
it.
work.
And you have to understand that it is tough. It's not easy. But nothing in this world is easy, especially for us. But it's not easy. It gets better. You can't be afraid to jump out there. I'm not saying rush it. I'm not saying that.
Right.
But you have when it's that time, you have to know it and you have to take advantage of it and jump on the strike while the iron's hot.
What's up, Eric?
Yeah, man. For me, I tell people, look, take your time.
Right.
You know, you can't measure your situation versus what everybody else is doing.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Because
Right.
people that are out here, it's like, oh man, I'm happily married, and my wife does this, my husband does that. This is the appearance. You don't know what's going on behind closed
Right.
doors,
True.
so you cannot judge how their relationship is versus you. So I tell people, you know, take your time. You know, it's if you're not married by the age of 30, whatever,
Don't mean nothing.
it doesn't mean nothing because you hear all the time.
You have not failed.
I'm 35.
Women and men say the same thing. They're like, man, I'm 30 and I don't have no kids or whatever the situation is, or I'm not married.
Like it's a failure.
Yeah, but live life, and when you do that, nothing worth having comes easy. It's going to be hard work. So
It's work.
Take your time.
Yeah.
And just enjoy life, enjoy each other, and then if it's going to happen, it's naturally going to happen. And if you force a situation, 9 times
It's
out of 10, it's
messed
going to
up
fail
for you.
because that person didn't want to get married probably from the jump. They just felt pressure to do it. So
Right.
enjoy each other, man.
I agree, and I would say just one, be true to yourself. So if you know what you want in a person, like don't settle for anything less than that.
Big facts.
Right. And more importantly, be specific about what you want. And set yourself a standard. Like if you want a certain standard, don't come down for that just because, well, like you said, I'm at a certain age. I want to have a family, because you get in a situation and you like, how did I even get here? Then you stuck. And then you got kids. And it's just different things. So definitely set that standard for it. And then don't be afraid to voice exactly what you want. So I'm looking for this, and it's okay to say that. Now, don't be in there, trying to, you on the first date talking about, I'm trying to get married.
By next week, you need to have this and this checked off.
Yeah, you might be short on that.
But it's crazy. You say about, be specific what you ask for, right? Like, no lie. Like, I told you I was not looking for a relationship at the time in my life. So, like, I was living somewhere, like, by myself. I didn't have a family in this area.
Okay.
And one night I was like, yo, listen, God, like, I'm just, I'm here, man. You know what I'm saying? Well, yeah, right. But whatever direction I'm going to go, lead me down that direction.
Okay.
And my wife moved to the area maybe like 2 months after that, right? Like I said, I wasn't looking at all. We were cool.
Right.
We used to work together. I was going to lunch. She was coming back from lunch, right? Remember I told you about the ask her about the Levi store?
Yeah,
I'm going to go ahead and drop it for you, right?
Go ahead.
So, this particular day, right, we just cool, like, whatever, I'm going home, check on my dog. She's like, yeah, I'm going back to work. And we worked, like, kind of like walking down the hill. She was walking up.
Right.
So she said something, but she wasn't talking to me. So I turned around and looked up. I was like, gracious. Now, mind you, we have been working together for a minute, like, didn't pay her no mind, dog, like, no mind. I said, good gracious, right? So I go, right. Yeah. So I go back in the job, right?
What you really said.
Yeah, I go back in the job. I tell my homegirl, like, I said, I'm about to get with her. And it's funny, right? She would tell me, boy, she don't want your dusty side. What? Well, shout out Janisha. And I said, you know what? Watch this. So, and it was funny because nobody knew we had, started talking to each other. So when she found out, I said, I told you.
Yeah,
I told you.
Right.
So that's dope, man.
Yeah.
That's I definitely feel like I said, it's good that you can understand that. And like I said, with my wife having that same thing, like she didn't need really someone. I was just an accessory. So, but she had a standard, like I had to step up to that plate. Either you go step up or you go get out of the way. So definitely be specific for that.
And then find you somebody who want to make you a better person.
All that. They gotta you gotta get somebody
who they're not gonna settle for who you are at this moment. They want you to be the best you. That's who you need to look for.
Big facts. Big facts. Now, lastly, I would say, now again, everybody talking about marriage. Is marriage for everyone?
I'm gonna say
for everyone?
No.
So everyone should be married.
No, it's just like anything else. Like if it doesn't work for you, whether it be marriage or school, going to school. Like my dad says all the time, like going to college. Says, son, if you go to college, go because you want to go. He said, if you want to be a clown, right? I lied to you now. Shut up, my pops, right? He said, I'm gonna be at work telling, hey man, my son is the best clown. You know what I'm saying? It is. So right. So my point is saying that is, man, if it's not for you, don't do it because you feel like everybody else is doing it. Do it because that's what you truly want to do. Because if you don't, you're going to create way more problems in the end than versus just not doing whatever that is in life.
Yes, I agree. I don't think that everyone should be married, and I don't think that everyone should look at it as something like a check-off list.
Correct.
Like got a house, got a car, got to be married for it. And I think that sometimes is the goal, especially for women, because if you look at like little girls, from a little kid, they're looking at princess stuff about
Yes.
this is how I'm gonna get married. I want to have a fairy tale. They're like being trained and groomed
Yes.
to be a bride in essence. And guess what little boys is doing? Jumping off couches,
Exactly.
busting their lips.
Yeah.
Talking trucks and all that.
Right. And you think about it even from that perspective, it's like if a little girl, like your daughter falls when she's little, everyone, oh, you okay? You're wiping her. Your son, boy, get up. Stop all that
Yeah,
crying.
right. Stop all that.
But he ain't no blood.
Right.
That crying.
He all right. Dude, he
Check it
cracked the back of his head. Like, I can see the white.
Check it out.
But that just goes to show you early on, it's being shifted.
Yes.
Like off rip, you already know what's going on when it comes to that. So you gotta understand that too. That like some people are kind of made for this or built for that. Everybody not
people ain't.
gonna have that before.
Yes.
But I don't feel like you should be like, oh, I ain't get married for it. What about you on that one?
I definitely feel like every marriage is not for everyone.
Right.
If you that guy who need multiple women, you don't need to get married. If you are the
Pretty
female who needs multiple men,
Right.
you don't need to get married. If
Right.
you have the mindset of, my husband to be has to have this, this, and this, you not ready to be married. If a guy feels like my wife, future wife, has to, be at a certain status level, certain this, certain that.
But the bigger thing about that, the people that have that 75 checklist joint don't even have it themselves.
They don't have it themselves.
I
They're
want
not
somebody
ready.
to be able to take me on this and this. I want my wife to know how to cook. She got to know how to clean. She got to know how to take care. Then you got the other side. I want somebody going to take me on 5-star dinners. They're going to pay. Like, if you're not doing it yourself,
Right. You have to.
how are you even worthy?
If you don't realize that you have to grow into that.
Right.
Marriage is not for you. Not to say it's not going to be for you one day, but you're not ready.
You're not
to be
ready.
You got to get to a point.
That mindset.
Yeah.
Get to a point. Yeah, that's dope, man. So, any last thoughts on marriage, man? Anything you want to leave the people? Because, they look for us to give them a little bit of our advice.
Yes,
So
I
Let
got it.
the MVP go
Yeah,
first.
I would say-
he got the most numbers.
Yeah. Marriage is a beautiful thing. Don't shy away from it. It doesn't make you less of a man. It doesn't make you less cool. You still can have fun. You have great friends and family like I do.
Mhm.
It's just, you remember, marriage is a beautiful thing. Us as people, us as African Americans, we get married at a lesser rate than
Mhm.
any other culture. We stay married less time than any other culture.
Yeah.
We have to fix that. And you realize that you do have to work with your spouse. There is nothing that's going to be given. And if you have to put in more work than your spouse if you wanted to be successful. And your spouse should have that same mindset. So if you both trying to outwork each other to be the best husband and best wife that you can be, that's when it becomes beautiful. And that's when you really take off. So again, shout out to my beautiful wife, girl. I love you so much. And I can't thank you enough for choosing me.
Right.
Thank you.
What about you?
Yeah, my final thoughts on marriage is just, making sure that, hey, everybody says make sure you got the right one. But you don't necessarily know you have the right one right off the rip.
You grow into that.
You have to grow into that, and you have to be able to work at it. Like when you have challenging situations, we got to stand up like, our grandparents did. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, people back in the day, like, yo, I ain't getting a divorce. It was not an option.
It's not an
Now,
option.
it's like, ooh, I don't like the way you sneeze. I'm good. I'm gonna move around. You know what I mean?
Like my pictures.
Right, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
so
Death do us part.
you gotta,
Yes.
I hear that all the time.
you gotta be able to work at it, people. And the people that's telling you, oh man, don't get married, get away from that,
Yeah,
man.
you know
Because
that. Them not your friends.
them ain't your
Those are
friends.
not your
You know what I'm
friends.
saying? They
Yeah.
should be telling, hey, if it's working for you, let it, do your thing. If not, keep it moving. You know
What
what
works
I
for
mean?
you may not work for the next
That's
person.
right.
I definitely say, for me, number one, keep God first.
Yes, absolutely.
Keep God first.
I should have said
and
that.
everything for it. Definitely keep God first. Be honest. Always be honest. It's hard sometimes to be honest. Not
This
only
dude, he can't lie. He can't even lie.
I'm
Especially to
horrible.
his wife. He
I'm
can't lie.
horrible, yeah. I'm horrible at it. But be honest, not only just with your significant other, but with yourself.
Right.
If you know you get in this situation, you know you over your head, don't waste people's time. Because
Yeah.
time is something you can't get back.
Right.
And lastly, I would say make your marriage what it needs to be for you. Meaning, don't let outside forces say, hey, you should do this, or you gonna let him talk to you like that?
Yeah, because
My wife would never do. Like whatever works for you ain't gonna work for the next person. But be honest with yourself and know that this is what's gonna work for me. I don't care what you saying. Thanks for the advice, but make it your own. And that's how only thing I gotta say on that. But shout out to all the people that's married out there, the people that's looking to get married.
Let's go.
All those people. Yeah, it's good. And now we gotta shift focus a little bit. get to my
Just
favorite
yeah.
part. My favorite part. My favorite part. Tell me why you mad.
Tell them why you mad, son. It's on you this
Yeah. Oh yeah. I got a beef for that. And this is a real one.
Oh, okay. Let's hit
Before
it.
I say this, I'm gonna give this discretion. This is not dedicated to the real vegans out there and the real people that you know. I love all y'all.
He about to get on.
So here's the thing I have with the vegans and the veganish or sometimes vegan people. Don't tell me that something tastes like something if it doesn't. Why it can't just be good? Like, I don't want to taste a burger and you try to tell me it tastes like a real hamburger. If it's not a real burger, it's not a real burger. I don't want no spare ribs. I seen it in the store yesterday. I'm in the store yesterday. And I go to the health food store, you know, get my little fruit and vegetables, and I'm like, I must be reading this wrong. Does this say vegan oxtail?
Why?
How does that even make sense? I'm sick and tired of y'all people that's vegans and all trying to create. Let it just be what it is. Come up with another dish. So come up with another dish. Don't tell me this cauliflower chicken tastes like chicken. It's not chicken. It's not
good,
chicken.
but it's not chicken.
My beef is don't tell me something tastes like it. It's not. Whatever it is, just make it, hey, this is just Impossible Burger. You should taste it.
Right.
This,
Alternative to not the substitution.
I will touch on that. So I want to give a special shout out to my brothers out in Dallas,
Yes.
Vegan Vaughn and
Right.
Spiritual Twin Brothers.
Yes.
You know, they.
And I follow. They dope.
Okay, so
But I don't see them posting. This is
No.
like a beef burger.
So I'm just
Okay.
not trying to dispel your beef.
Okay.
Just give you a different perspective.
Yes. Give me something.
So when they first started out, right, like my brother Javon, man, he was like, yo, you gotta come over here, try these black bean burgers. It tastes like real burger.
It doesn't.
I love
Right,
that beef,
but-
they don't take
But this is when he was early on,
Okay.
right? But now, you know, he's so versed in the game, like, bro, like he cooks food now where if he didn't tell you it was vegan,
Right.
you couldn't tell the
Tell the
difference.
difference,
And
right.
he's not him or my brother not, oh, you shouldn't eat meat because of X, Y, and Z. Like,
Right,
you know, they really have a strong movement out there in Dallas.
What's their handle?
Vegan Vaughn is on Facebook.
That's it.
Vegan Vaughn is on Facebook. Don't hold me there. I'm gonna get you right, Javon.
We'll drop the link.
Javon
We'll drop the
Cole
link.
on Facebook. Look him up. If you're in the Dallas area, go to the farmers market, man. They sell
I'm
out
cool with the people that really live. I don't have a problem with the lifestyle. I love the lifestyle. Don't come to me talk about you eating that meat. Yes, I eat that. God put this here for you and me. Partake in this. I'm a meatitarian, so let me
being the veganish guy at the table.
Yes.
I understand where you coming from.
Right.
There are even the true vegans. They try to make you feel bad for what I'm putting in my body. At the end of the day, this is my body. I ain't telling you to eat it.
Right.
I'm not forcing you to eat it.
Correct.
I will say that, like, shout out to Impossible Burger. It is delicious.
No, it's very good.
I actually like the Impossible, and I haven't had a beef burger in so
We
long.
did. I did. Was it quinoa?
Yeah, the quinoa, yeah. But we were struggling with them quinoa burgers because we was trying not to use the egg to keep it together. So shout out to my dog.
The grill joint?
We were trying to grill them, bro. Actual quinoa.
We got about half of them.
Yeah.
We got about half of them.
It was challenging.
In the rain, though, but we made it work.
It was challenging, but I can say if it doesn't fly or swim, I'm not eating it. So no red meat for me. But I'm not gonna knock another guy or another woman who's gonna eat it. But I will say that is one thing that us veganish people and then the full vegans, we do have to get better with telling people, hey, this tastes just as good as.
Yes.
Because it's.
And don't push your lifestyle on me.
Don't push your lifestyle on people.
Let me get to a point where I'm comfortable.
Yes.
Prime example, I go to the gym very often now. I was at a point when I think I worked with Jay Irvin. Everybody that at our job was going to the gym, except me. Like, they was clowning me like, how y'all go to the gym? It was people that was 400, 500 pounds. They was going to the gym. I was not going. But again, I had to get to a point where I needed it for myself. Nobody was going to force me to go. So don't force the lifestyle on me. If I don't want it, I don't want it.
Yes.
I'm not going. If you a vegan, I ain't gonna be like, yo, these ribs, boy, they thing buzzing. I'm
Now,
not gonna do it.
I will say the reverse of that now.
Yes.
You do have the people who are not vegan
Mhm.
and the people who are not vegetarian.
Yes.
They seem to kind of want to pick at the people who
Very
do
much so.
choose to eat.
Yeah,
So it kind of goes both ways.
Yeah.
You can't say, oh, well, this person can't bring this dish because,
Yeah.
they don't know what they're doing because they vegan or
Yes.
they vegetarian. So it
Just
kind of goes both
if you
ways.
come to my house, just you're vegan, just bring your dish.
Yes.
It's good,
So all the vegans out there that's listening, okay? Hey,
Shout out to the vegans.
shout out to the vegans. We rock,
Let's go,
y'all.
man.
And also, too, man, y'all just dropped Burger King. And hey, look, we need a deal or something. We're not doing no free promotion. Make sure we get this money, man.
But yeah, man, that's just my tell you why you mad, son. Because that this heavy beef, I'm just tired of people just telling me like it tastes just. No, it does not.
Hey man, I got some cauliflower,
Nah, I'm
broccoli,
good. I'm good. You lost.
fried wings.
You lost me in cauliflower.
Those
So,
are actually good, by the way.
They are good, man.
man.
They are good.
Get out of
You
here.
put
But
some,
they
put
don't
some
taste
mumbo
as good as
sauce on
regular
the joint.
Get out of here, man.
And you will love it with the mumbo.
Nah,
It won't take the place of a wing, but it's good.
I'm good, man. I like my meat being real. I like the real dang on chicken wings. That's
We got
it.
to pause.
Right. That's a big pause.
Yeah.
That's a big pause. Pause. Super pause.
Oh, man.
But yeah, shout out to all the people that's married,
Shout out.
looking to be married. We
Beautiful
thank
thing.
y'all for tuning in, man.
Yes.
And you know, remember, don't be trying to get people to demons we gonna catch y'all next week. Black Day Call, tuning in. Black to the Basics, be out.